We're proud to present Seller Sessions live in London, where we'll be flying in some of the world's most advanced Amazon educators. The event will be held at the prestigious David Game Keynote Theatre. Alongside myself will be Evelyn Demirov, who is known for breaking lots of trends on Amazon, Anthony Lee, one of the early innovators of the blast ranking method and published author. We'll also be flying in show favourites Leran Hirschkorn and Paul Harvey. Over the coming weeks, we'll be announcing more speakers and content. So if you want to join in the fun with other super smart Amazon sellers and brands, then visit sellersessions.com/live and grab super early bird tickets before they go to full admission. We'd like to say a big thank you to all of our media partners, which include GS1 UK, Web Retailer, River Cleaner, Sixleaf, Orange Click and Amazing Freedom. We look forward to seeing you all in London on June 1st. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring back Liz Adamson. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Danny.
Excellent. Cool. Right. So today we're going to be talking about some experiments and tests that you've run on one particular client account. Is that right?
Yeah, two accounts actually, two slightly different experiments. So we did two different tactics for those, but yeah, there's two client accounts that we're really excited about. So both of these clients we took on pre-holiday. One we took on in October, and the next one we took on November. And knowing that peak season was about to hit, all that traffic to Amazon with Black Friday and holiday shopping and all those things, we really wanted to get them in a position where they could truly capitalize on that extra traffic. And then the goal was to not only capitalize on the traffic throughout the season, but the search engine algorithm, seeing the increase in conversions, increase in sales, will put them into a better position going into Q1, where they could continue, basically have higher sales, kind of ride that wave into Q1 and enjoy higher sales than they had seen throughout 2018.
Sounds good. So what were the steps involved in leading up to this?
Right. So these were two different clients with two slightly different problems, and so we approached them a little bit differently. Client number one, they sold a bit of a niche product. It was I want to say it's a children's product. It's not a toy or a game. It's more of like a children's educational product. And looking at they had launched about 2 months previously. They tried to do it themselves. They had set up a manual campaign, but no automatic campaigns. They had tried to put copy together themselves. And we looked at it and we said, look, we need to start over again. Let's do keyword research. Let's refresh all this copy. We didn't even focus on images this time. We just really focused on the copy.
Cool. So what I would say here is that because not everyone would realize why you do this, but what you're pretty much saying is that because the account wasn't in good shape, it's not like you had some basis to optimize on and there wasn't enough data there. So you're able to just go, guys, look, we're going to do a tear down and start all over again and build it up. Because I think obviously some people will be a bit concerned, what you're not going to do, take on what's there and start to split test and optimize. It just simply wasn't structured in the right way to get the right information for reporting, and there wasn't enough campaigns running. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. The combination of the product page not being built well and then the campaigns not being structured well, there wasn't a whole lot for us to work with. So yeah, exactly what you're saying. We started from scratch to be able to get us a good foundation and a good platform to really get things rolling.
Cool. So give us a breakdown and, starting with the product page, walk us through some of your processes, if you don't mind.
Right. Yeah. So when we look at a product page, and often when I get clients coming to me asking for advertising, I look at the product page first, because I tell all my clients I can drive as much traffic as you want to your page, but if they're not going to buy, it's not going to be successful. So we need to make sure your page is in good shape. And so I took a look at their page, and it was lacking keywords. It was lacking, the copy was just kind of plain, I guess I would say. It was just not that you have to have super fancy, elaborate copy, but it really wasn't explaining the features and benefits very well of the product. And so we start with keyword research. We use a couple of different tools just to really brainstorm long lists of keywords. And kind of look at what competition's doing, what kind of keywords they're using. And we gather several hundred keywords and then narrow it down to like a short list of maybe 10 to 20 keywords, depending on the product, and then make sure those keywords are all on copy. And we focus on that front end copy, that title. We do very clear, concise titles. We don't keyword stuff. We want to make sure you can read the title and understand what it is the priority. And then we sprinkle those keywords throughout the bullets, again, making sure that the bullets are clear, to the point. They outline features and benefits. The customer can understand the product easily.
Sounds good. So just want to bring back to the point, like you said, several hundred keywords and then you dump them down to about 20. Where does that mindset and process come from? Is it mainly down to the situation with the relevance now on Amazon? You can have loads of search terms that don't generate any impressions, but you're going and tucking in and focus on a core set, and then you optimize out from there.
Yeah, we get down to that core set. That first of all, we're looking for keywords that are truly relevant to the product. We can find those couple hundred keywords, and some of them are fringe keywords. They may indicate someone's looking for the product. They may somewhat describe, but they're not truly accurate. And
I call them neighboring keywords. So they're not exactly on relevance, but they're related.
Exactly. And so those, we'll use those in advertising. I mean, when I say bring it down to 20 keywords, I'm mostly talking about copy. We'll use, a few hundred keywords in advertising and just to test, what we're thinking. But when we're crafting that original copy, we just focus on a very core set of keywords that is highly relevant to the target audience, relevant to what the product is used for, relevant to all the features and benefits. And we don't want to go off into the weeds saying the product does something it doesn't just because the keyword has high volume. That doesn't do anyone favors. So we pare that down and just really focus on, what does this product do and combining it with how we know customers are searching on Amazon. And we know throughout copy too, when we talk about, I keep mentioning, there's a few hundred keywords, but if you kind of dedupe those keywords, you'll come up with fewer unique words, if that makes sense. So a lot of these keyword search terms, they're phrases, they're the same keywords recombined in all sorts of different phrases.
Different permutations of the same structure of words,
Exactly. And we know that Amazon, to some extent, can kind of piece some of those together. And so we really just focus on, making sure we do have some core phrases in there, but then sprinkling the rest of the keywords kind of throughout. And then we kind of wrap things up in the back end search terms, anything that didn't fit on the front page will go into the back end. Misspellings, synonyms, some of those kind of more fringe neighboring keywords will go into the back end. And then we'll update those depending on what advertising is telling us what works and what doesn't work.
Cool. And then next phase for you, what did you do? You mentioned off call, set the campaigns. You went quite aggressive with these, didn't you?
Yeah, this one we didn't go quite aggressive. The client number 2, we went very aggressive at first, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But this one, their PPC really hadn't even been maximized at all in the terms of building out the campaign structure so that you're hitting on all cylinders. They just had a manual campaign with, I think, maybe like 20, 25 keywords in it. Probably, I'm not remembering right now. I don't have it in my notes, but I want to say it was probably one match type. We see a lot of that with small startup sellers who aren't totally sure what they're doing. So we built that auto campaign, and to be clear, they had a single product, so we didn't have to get too complex with the campaigns. But we added that auto campaign. We built out the manual campaign. We put in 3 ad groups with the different match types and all the ad groups, and just turn things on. And we did that just before we went into heavy traffic season, and having that ready to go as traffic began coming into Amazon. We had a great holiday. And then as I watched January, we always get a little bit nervous, okay, holiday's over. Did what I do really work?
The come down season is January, isn't it, for a lot of people?
Exactly. Yeah. And so we were very curious to see how far they were going to fall back down. And we were very pleased to see that as the sales settled down in January, they were still 20% over their sales in September, before we had started Q4. And they're still going strong for February. We still have more work to do on the product page. There's more things we would love to do on it. We can do better images, and we don't have enhanced brand content up quite yet because they're waiting for their trademark. But having just that basic there of the solid keyword research, a solid copy of the back end data fields being filled out, completely with other search terms and target audience and things like that. And then just setting up just a basic solid PPC campaign. Before that traffic was hitting, so that we were firing on all cylinders when traffic started coming to Amazon for Q4. So again, just an example of get your basics in order. Make sure you've got those solid pieces in place, especially before those peak traffic seasons, and that will set you up for success.
Cool. Well, that's good. So basically, more of the story, product market fit. You started this before Q4, get the structure in place, make sure campaigns are set up and easy to report. Then obviously you took the risk by going aggressive with it, and then you haven't had to really dial back. Because I'm finding with summer accounts in January, January can be depends on the type of products that you sell. January can almost be like July and August. So ACOS goes up, more fishing, more clicking, less buying in that period.
Yeah. A lot of browsers just they've already spent all their money and they're just kind of looking, or, who knows what they're doing. But yeah, January can be a hard month, but if you've positioned yourself well, it can also be a very good month.
Cool. Should we go into a little bit on account number 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So we took this account on about the same time frame. Looks like we started October 1, and they had been around for a couple of years. They have 3 parent SKUs. They're in, I would say, the sports and outdoors category. Just they're in a niche. It's a pretty solid niche. They do have some solid competition. It's not easy anymore. I think they were one of the first to market, but a lot of people have followed them since. And so they had steady performance for a really long time. They had a great launch a couple of years ago, but then this last year they came to me because they felt like their performance had really plateaued, and they just weren't sure what to do next. He was really anxious to kind of jumpstart growth again, and he had launched a couple new iterations of his product last year as well. As we looked at their campaigns, it was apparent that their campaign structure had become very unorganized. They were launching campaigns, for all sorts of just reasons here and there. They had kind of the standard, there's tactics around, a research and a discovery campaign and a high profit campaign. But then they'd kept going, and they kept finding more ways to name campaigns and niche campaigns until they almost had too many, and it was so hard to manage. You couldn't figure out where to put the keywords you were harvesting. So we decided to simplify the campaigns. And when we do that, we never kill the existing campaigns. We look through what's there. We find the strong performing ones, high click-through rates, high conversions, high impressions, things like that. And then we'll repurpose them. So we took one of their stronger campaigns and turned that into the main campaign and put in several hundred more keywords. We went through their search term reports. We found there were between 500, 700 keywords that we could
that's a lot of search terms to be available without... Yeah. Obviously it's not that it's mismanaged. Maybe they're running other areas of their business, but that's a huge volume of keywords or search terms to base on new campaigns on, isn't it? From reports.
It was. Yeah, it really was. And I think it was a case of, like you said, it just had fallen by the wayside and hadn't been managed very closely, very carefully for a while. And so we added all these new keywords. We added them in all 3 match types. And then the second thing that I talked him into, and I'm glad he went along with me, as I said, okay, we're going into holiday. It's going to be highly competitive. We're trying to get this relaunched. Let's treat it like a launch. I want to manage this at break-even ACOS. And are you with me on this? He said, sure, let's do it. I'm all for it. We'll spend the money. Let's see what happens. And we did. We managed a high ACOS at break-even for him, going well into Q4. December, that ACOS dropped quite a bit because his sales completely shot up. I mean, we had ridden that traffic going into November so well that his sales were just amazing in December. And then, so again, in January, we're thinking, okay, how far is it going to crash? What's going to happen now? And we'd made the agreement in January we would manage to a more profitable ACOS level for long-term profitability. So let me pull the numbers here. He basically went from $5,000 to $6,000 a month in ad sales, and that was Q3 or so. He was averaging $5,000 to $6,000 a month in ad revenue. And in January, we landed, I don't have the exact number with me, but it was around $20,000 in ad revenue in January, and we're seeing a very strong February as well, and predict that we'll be very strong. So we're managing to, we're giving him about 15 points of margin, managing at a lower ACOS, and we're seeing, this 200, 300% increase in sales simply by restructuring those campaigns, doing that basic due diligence of pulling those search terms in, testing all match types. And then just going aggressive, when we were going into that peak season. Again, that was a short-term strategy to capitalize on the traffic so that we could get his momentum going leading into Q1.
Totally agree. I mean, and we've got some accounts like that. I've just published some case studies. If you want to have a look at sellersessions.com/case-studies. So I've done 3 case studies from 3 different accounts. And like what you said there, I call it upwards expansion. So you've got accounts where there's lots been left on the table. So you can take them from, I think one of them was the ad spend was like €900 a month. And
Mm-hmm.
we increased the ad spend, but the sales grew exponentially. But you don't always have that availability on every account that you work on. There's certain ones where it's like, wow, there's plenty of bread here left on the table. Let's go feast,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You'll know that with your other accounts as well. But it's nice to able to take a client and move them in that direction and say, look, there's plenty of room. Because quite often you look at the account and there's not much room to play with. They've done all their expansion, they've done the research, and then it's now going to be down to intelligent bidding and stuff like that to really get their campaigns popping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I love taking on these new accounts where they've been self-managed or managed by someone with less experience. It's a big satisfaction being able to just say, hey, let's just put in these basics, let's get this going, and then down the road, to be able to keep these campaigns growing, we are going to have to get much more sophisticated with bid management and strategy and targeting and things like that. So that's what we'll be focusing on this year is. For these new accounts that we've taken over, turned around, okay, next steps, let's take it to the next level, using more advanced bidding strategies and targeting. Because, with Amazon, as everyone in the audience knows, it is such a fast changing marketplace and competition comes out of nowhere and you've got to be on your toes and looking for, we've had good success, but it's not time for us to sit on our heels. We got to look forward to the next month and next year and make sure that we're continuing to grow these accounts for these clients.
Cool. So do you mind if we revisit some old stuff? We were a few shows ago, we were talking about branded pages, weren't we? And you had some data on those as well. But at the time you felt you hadn't had enough compelling data. Have you got an update there at all?
Yeah, we do. So when we talked last, we talked quite a bit about how we were testing headline search ads, also called sponsored brand ads, and driving that traffic to the storefront or the brand page instead of that listing page, the one that looks like a set of search results. Because there had been a lot of talk about whether or not the storefront pages actually convert, whether or not customers will even know what to do there. And we found with our larger, we got some really solid results from our larger catalogs. I'm talking a few hundred SKUs where we really had to take the storefront and organize it well so you could navigate easily into, boys pants and girls tops, and especially for clothing category. And so we had really solid results in driving traffic to the storefront pages for these larger catalogs. When we talked, we were still kind of getting more information on whether or not it's of benefit for small catalogs, maybe just a half a dozen SKUs, or in this particular case that I'm about to talk about, there was one parent SKU. They have one parent SKU, four child SKUs. It's a single product. It's new to market. It's in a very tight niche. They're unique. So they've done very well since their launch 6 months ago. And we recently started running, we designed their storefront. We started running headline search ads to that storefront. And as we compared those ad metrics to when we drove them to just a product listing page, the storefront ads had 30% more impressions, which isn't the really fun thing. But with those 30% more impressions, we had 80% more sales.
Wow.
And so there was both a higher click-through rate, even though our ads are exactly the same, and it could be a little bit because of positioning and where the ad was on the page, but the conversion rates were higher. The ACOS was 13% lower on the storefront ads. And so they were landing on the storefront page. We had a nice video there. We had very clear call to action, click here, buy now, add to cart, whatever it may be. Made it very easy for the customer to find and buy and understand the product. And the one unique thing about this product is it is just a little bit technical. It's a little bit unique, and you have to almost see how it works to really understand it. And so what we did with the storefront is we led with a video showing how the product works, all its different uses, and it's a fun kind of stop motion video that it's not very long, catches the attention. They can watch this video and go, oh yeah, I need this, I get how it works, I need it. Okay, click to buy is right here. So I think that's a strong part of why it's been performing so well, is we were given the chance to educate the customer on the product and then allow them to buy.
Sounds good. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
I think that's it. I'm excited for 2019 and all the changes that Amazon's been making to advertising. So we're
I think they had their biggest year last year in terms of changes. Actually, last week I'd done a call with the product team at Amazon, giving them some feedback with Ellis. We jumped on the call with them, spent, I don't know, an hour and a half. And it's really good and insightful. Hopefully it's going to be a start of a good relationship. I can't go into graphic detail, but it was nice to discuss certain things. And one of the biggest things that I can say without saying anything is that they want to promote like newer products. And I said, you need to build trust with your immediate Amazon community. And I said, one of the things, if you want them to work with like the different bidding options and stuff like that and embrace all that, give them something in return. What can you offer the community to show, look, trust our algorithms? Because at the end of the day is that people want to go, well, have you built those algorithms for the end user benefit, or is this for your benefit? Because a lot of people were using down instead of up and down as an option, because that's the safest option to go. And when I spoke with them, I said, there's no, you've not produced any case studies or given anyone reason why. So I've actually asked them, I'm waiting to get feedback, but hopefully I said, look, if we can get a Q&A going, and they're running it past legal, but hopefully I'll be able to get some of the Amazon product team on seller sessions to answer questions for the audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are making some serious inroads now. I would say, agreeing, last year, 18 months, the array of product, the suite of offers is greatly improved and increased, more so than any time in 5 years.
Yeah, and I think they're really doubling down on growing that advertising business, as well as growing the tools available to brand sellers. And I think I saw you had a podcast a week or two ago on that new brand analytics tool that popped up. Yeah, that's been really fun to play with. And I've been told by some contacts at Amazon that that's just the beginning. So so we're excited to see.
I've been geeking out on that. Just before we jumped on this call, I've just done an hour for one of our clients who's got it on their account. And they said, I don't understand how to use it. And I won't share it now. I'll save that for another podcast. But I've made a list of about 20, 30 things that you can do with it. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. But I'll save that for another day. More importantly, how does people reach you?
Right. So you can contact me directly at Liz, L-I-Z, at egility.co. That's egility.co. And you can also visit our website at egility.co.
Excellent. Liz, thank you so much for coming. I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Guys, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.